This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Well, it's Saturday, January 20th, and this is our third broadcast for 2018. Thank you again for joining us on this Saturday morning. We always have a lot to talk about with the markets going in all different directions here in recent sessions is concerned about the funding for the U.S. government seems to be the top story in the financial media. Generally, these become non-events in previous years, as I recall, but meanwhile, the market has made a tremendous move here. As you know, the Dow got over 26,000. And, some say it's going to 33,000, 40 or 50,000. And cyclically, the market seems to be in good shape, except, we have a lot of pullback risk if a sudden outlier event suddenly hits, and certainly the market could, correct 1,000, 2,000 points out of the blue and still be in a big intermediate uptrend. So this is what we have to watch for. I sort of joke about Groundhog Day a little bit, and I do this because I look at a lot of alternate indicators, and part of that is a component of my annual forecast model, which I put out every year in the financial markets. In fact, that annual forecast model is now being produced, and if you do have interest in it, it covers the Dow, crude oil. We've been doing a little run on Bitcoin this year. We're covering gold, U.S. dollar, and so forth. Take a look at that. But, looking at the old Groundhog Day, the last several years we've noticed that the market tends to pull back within a couple of weeks of that, and that's February 2nd. So whether it comes just before, in fact, a couple instances it came after. So we're in this time frame where we could get a little indigestion in the market, and it's well needed. So that's something you got to keep in mind. I'm not telling you to go out and sell stocks because of the groundhog. I'm just telling you that's a cyclical pattern, and we tend to get that type of pattern this type of year. So we do get a little pullback there. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Meanwhile, watching the U.S. dollar week, gold continuing to show some strength. No surprise in gold. We were talking about some tax loss selling in December, which not always happens, but has happened in recent years. And bullseye, there was a mid-December low in the precious metals, and particularly gold and silver. Nice rally off that in the last few weeks. Cyclically, we tend to see strength into early February. That's sort of the normal pattern. Now, whether this is the beginning of a big move, many are calling for that. I don't know if that's the case. I could see gold at 1,400 perhaps if this continues, maybe 1,450. We're going to have to take out that 1,372 high from last summer for that to confirm, and a long way from that, but anything could happen here if the dollar continues weak. A lot of traders pounding the table that Bitcoin is over, that we've seen the top, that was the big parabolic blow off there near $20,000 a coin, and we got down to 10, and now we're starting to bounce back a little bit here on Friday. Getting up to about 11,900 after touching about 10,500 the day prior. I'm not sure it's over. We traded technically using GBTC, that Bitcoin investment trust. And if you've been watching or listening to us, watching our newsletters or listening to these broadcasts for the past couple of years, you know that I was one of the first out there with GBTC. Maybe I was one of the first, when the darn thing was trading, at $100, $200 a share and trading it. Now we saw it go up to over 3,000. I think it was 3,400 the top of that. So if we see an interesting entry point, technically I will try to jump in and take a little bit of a trade there. I like it because it is a stock and you don't have to actually trade the coin and have to worry about a wallet or worry whether the purveyor is going to be there when you need to sell it. So if we can get an ETF trading there, that would be great. I know the futures are trading. I'm not much of a futures trader. I like equities better, only because I used to be a floor trader on the Board of Trade, CCBOE, actually a few decades ago, and a lot got caught that I know on limit moves up and down in the futures market. So if you could do options on the futures there, that would make a lot more sense to me, or make sure you close out positions during the day or keep tight stops if you are going to trade those futures. But if we do get an ETF trading in Bitcoin, there are a couple being proposed now. The Winklevoss brothers were trying to get something proposed a few months ago, and they got turned down by the SEC. But then the CFTC, which is a competing government agency, approved the future. So you got one government agency saying one thing and another one saying just the opposite. So just really interesting how all that has unfolded. So we have that to talk about. Natural gas had a little pop here the last few days, and there was some negative story on natural gas supplies, and it went down a little bit, I believe, on Thursday. And here we are, looking like a little bottom is forming in that commodity. So we're taking a look at that, and we have traded that a little bit. Crude oil, as you know, myself and my good friend Henry Weingarten, who I don't think can join us today. I think he's traveling out to China, but we had talked about a move into the mid-60s in crude oil, and sure enough, it's been moving up here just when everybody else was bearish. I have a friend of mine out in the Orient who made some tremendous predictions in crude oil in recent years, and believe it or not, on a 20-year basis, I know we can't trade on that, but he believes that we could see crude oil up at $400 a barrel in the next 20 years. So just surprise everybody thinking that green energy is going to take over and crude oil is going to zero, and the opposite may just happen. So we'll see if that unfolds, of course, long way away, but it sort of tells me you can't get too extreme here with opinions in any market. And speaking of alternate energy, we've seen some nice strength, as you know, in recent months in the solar stocks. First Solar was one of my favorite picks there. We're not in it at the moment, but that's an interesting play. What's happening now? Of course, I'm really up on the cannabis stocks. We have the Cannabis Vice newsletter. We were the first out there, I believe, among the major newsletter writers, creating a Cannabis Vice letter where we launched it in early 2014. In fact, I'm headed up to Canada the next few days, early February. I'm one of the keynote speakers at the World Outlook Conference. So if you are planning to be in British Columbia, Vancouver, I think February 1st, 2nd, certainly stop by. But the reason I bring that story up, and I've had that story mentioned before, but we'll talk about it again. Back in 2014, I was on stage there, about 1,200 people. It was, again, a keynote presentation, and I was asked, what is a new and exciting market, something new to look at? And I mentioned marijuana, cannabis, and I think the whole audience cracked out laughing. Meanwhile, that was the bottom, that was the turn, and now when they invite me back, ever since then, the last few years, they think I'm the cannabis guru of the world because I called that. And really what I was looking at, frankly, and others were as well, but significant volume coming into some of these, at the time, many penny stocks. One of the recommendations we made was Canopy Growth, which is the blue chip in Canada. The ticker symbol is TWMJF. I own that personally and to trade that as well. Stocks got up to about 35 since our recommendation. Don't touch your dial. Speaking of Canada, we'll be back after the break with our good friend Don Vialo from Toronto.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Every industry faces distinguishing challenges and circumstances that shape the business and financial landscape. Camuso CPA LLC delivers unrivaled depth of knowledge and an engaging experience relevant to each client's industry-specific needs. Camuso offers preemptive guidance and knowledge required to achieve your greatest business and personal financial potential. Our approach is based on forging long-term business relationships accompanied by trust and value, creating an ever-important partnership. Build your dedicated financial team with us today. Visit CamusoCPA.com. That's CamusoCPA.com.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5759. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5759. That's 1-800-959-5759. 1-800-959-5759.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Hello, my name is Marjorie Wildcraft. I'm the founder of the Grow Network, which is an online community of people who produce their own food and medicine. We are really into backyard self-reliance. If you want this lifestyle, I suggest your first step be to learn some basic home medicine. Just the other day, my 18-year-old son came to me and said, "Mama, I got a sore throat. Can you fix me up?" And I said, "Sure, Ryan," and in about 24 hours, he was better. The best home medicine for you to start out with is garlic. It's an amazing natural antibiotic, and I can show you how to use garlic to handle ear infections, sore throats, colds, and flus. As a way for you to get to know a little bit more about me and the Grow Network, I've written up an easy introduction on how to use garlic. It's at gcnwellness.com. Now, the station manager told me that I needed to say the URL at least twice, even though it feels kind of weird. But if you're interested in backyard self-reliance, you are one of us. Go to www.gcnwellness.com and let's connect up.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, January 20th, our third broadcast of 2018. Time flies. Seemed like almost yesterday it was New Year's and Christmas, and here we are into the new year. And boy, the new year's offered a lot of surprises. Many thought that first they'd be selling into the end of the year. And then others said, well, no, we're going to see profit-taking after the first of the year. And what did the Dow and the major indexes do? Just the opposite. They went to new highs. But, we are in a time frame, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, where you could see a little bit of a pullback. And I sort of joked about Groundhog Day, February 2nd, and some statistical evidence that said a couple weeks either side of that, you can get a little bit of a pullback in the market. So if there's an outlier event of some kind, yes, there's a lot of risk to the downside in the markets, but we shall see. And one person that I rely on considerably to help us in those determinations is my good friend Don VIALOUX, who is the past president of the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts, and he also, along with his son John, produces two great blogs. One is called timingthemarket.ca and equityclock.com. Good morning, Don. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me again, Mark.
Well, I noticed in your bulletin you put out a little word of caution for U.S. equities, so you sort of feel that maybe we could be in a little risk period here for a few weeks?
Well, Groundhog Day is rapidly approaching, so just be aware of that. Right. The release of fourth quarter reports by major corporations are in full swing. The consensus for S&P 500 companies call for a 10.2% year-over-year gain. But unfortunately, many of these reports released today have been met with sell-on-use pressures, despite better than consensus sales and earnings. Examples late last week included IBM, Goldman Sachs, and American Express. Now, next week is the biggest week for fourth quarter reports. Watch closely to the responses to these reports.
So if we're selling on news, that's usually a bearish sign, Don. So we like to see stocks rally on bad news. That tells us that maybe a bottom is coming in. So you could be on target with that one. That could be really interesting.
Looking for a relatively shallow correction, but there's a pretty good chance with the markets overbought they are right now, and that you could get a bit of a drip here between now and approximately the middle of February.
Okay. I don't want to pin you down in any particular numbers, but the S&P, I mean, is there like a target pullback number you'd be comfortable with, or you haven't given that much thought?
Yeah, approximately 3 to 5% pullback would be quite normal, given where the market is right now. It's very, very overbought.
Okay. So interest rates are headed higher in Canada, too, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Last week, the Bank of Canada raised its overnight lending rate by 0.25% to 1.25%. And probably more important, on Friday, the yield on 10-year U.S. Treasuries moved above the 2.62% level to a 3.5-year high. Now, consensus is expected the Federal Reserve will increase the Fed fund rate in March by another 20.25%, but this should be a bit of a bother for markets. We also have something else happening which is very unusual. The U.S. dollar index broke last week to a 3.5-year low. That's not good for currencies in general. Turns out that's positive for gold and silver and precious metals, but it also is a bit of a concern for the equity markets in general.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head a little bit. The dollar is really weak, even though interest rates are moving up or supposedly moving up in the U.S., so that's sort of out of sync, right?
It is, and that's a really important divergence. So be aware that these are important changes that are happening in the markets and will have a big impact going forward. Turns out the higher or the lower U.S. dollar index has a positive impact on a lot of corporate earnings. A good example of a company that has 50% of its revenues and earnings coming from outside the United States, and the company in that case automatically gets a 6% increase in their earnings just from currency translations alone. So a lot of the expectations for higher earnings in 2018 are based kind of on a false premise. That's mainly because currency, the U.S. dollar index in this case, has been going down significantly. So just be aware of some of these nuances that are having an impact on equity markets as we get farther into 2018.
For years and years, we always talked about a weak dollar being good for the stock market, and the political forces said, "Oh no," or the commentators would say, "Oh, we want a strong dollar, and a strong dollar is good." But we find out that weak dollars, as you just implied, that it's good for stocks.
It is because it adds to the earnings picture.
Right.
I'll give you an example of what has happened to a Canadian investor over the last year. Now, the Canadian dollar has gone higher slightly than the U.S. dollar, so that's a positive. But the net is that the Canadian dollar has gone down, or U.S. dollar index has gone down about 7% relative to the Canadian dollar. That means if you held cash in accounts in U.S. dollars a year ago, the value of that account has dropped by 7% just by holding cash.
Wow.
So there's a big discrepancies going on, and that's having an impact on the performance of a lot of money managers up here in Canada who own a large amount of U.S. stocks, which look good on the surface, up over 21% over the past 12 months based on the S&P 500. But in Canadian dollar terms, not so much.
Wow. We only have a few seconds left. We're still optimistic on gold. We're still in that positive cycle, right? Short term?
Yes. The weakness in the U.S. dollar index will help gold. We've seen gold very, very strong again on Friday. That still looks very, very good as a seasonal trade right through until the end of February.
Great. Thank you so much, Don. Don Vialou from EquityClock.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. And good luck with your broadcast tomorrow in Vancouver, Don. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, Don's going to be a guest on the Michael Campbell Show, CKNW Radio in Vancouver. So if you want to tune that in on the Internet, you can look it up, CKNW, and I believe it's about 8:30 Pacific time the show begins, and Don probably be in about a half hour after that. But I've done the show many times. In fact, I'm headed up to Vancouver. And I didn't finish my story in the previous segment, but the World Outlook Conference is coming up on February 1st and 2nd, or 2nd and 3rd, and the Western Bay Shore in Vancouver, and I'm one of the keynote speakers up there, so I really look forward to traveling up to Vancouver every year. We have a whole host of very interesting guests, and Vancouver is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I enjoy Stanley Park and all the great amenities in that great city, which, by the way, is 51% Chinese, if you don't already know. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with our good friend Sinclair No.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at WallStreetRaw.com.
People search the Internet for everything, including you. With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help, so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll-free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, January 20th, our third broadcast of 2018. Boy, time flies. It's already the third week of January. And everyone was expecting the stock market to sell off after the first of the year. Profit-taking would come in, and maybe we'll still see some of that here. But the surprise was to the upside, as you know, as all the major indexes moved to new record highs. Welcoming Sinclair now from KFN in 1510 Phoenix, my good friend and author of the great blog, EatTheBankers.com. Good morning, Sinclair. How are you doing?
Mark, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, great. As a point of disclosure, we do tape this interview early. It is midday Friday, so we don't have all the final results on the market. At this time, the Dow's down about 50 points, and they're getting a little bit of a pullback here. But the big story, of course, Sinclair, is the government shutdown story. So we don't know the results of that at this broadcast, but what are your thoughts?
Well, something could still happen Friday. Something could happen over the weekend. It looks at this point on Friday as if we're headed for a partial government shutdown. Now, that could be a bad thing. in many different ways. However, when it comes to the stock market, I'm not particularly worried about a big problem. I mean, we're looking at a 9-year-old bull market here, one of the strongest historically. I don't think that a partial government shutdown is going to derail the bull market. We've seen government shutdowns in the past. In fact, we've seen 18 of them since 1976. The stock market has never had a big, dramatic drop, or certainly not a crash, as a result of the politics back in Washington, or the lack of political action in Washington. The biggest decline that we saw was back in 1979. The S&P 500 was down about 4.4% on an 11-day government shutdown. And even then, even if there is a shutdown, the markets typically recover and have a pretty good year following a shutdown. Does that mean that that would happen if there is a shutdown now? No. We could have a big dip. We could have a crash. I don't know. It's something to keep an eye on, absolutely, but it's not anything to lose sleep over as far as the stock market is concerned.
Okay. That's fair enough.
There are other things that you can be concerned about. I mean, if you want to go to a national park, it might not be so great. If you receive Social Security, you're still going to get your checks. If you're looking into your mailbox for your mail, mailman's still going to be there. If you're taking a trip, air traffic controllers are still going to be there. A lot of things are still going to be there, but a lot of things are also going to shut down, probably a little bit more important in Washington, D.C., than anywhere else in the country.
But they say essential services will continue, so we're probably okay, right?
For the most part. Now, one area that's a little bit tricky this time around, the CDC, disease control, may be affected by this, and we're going through, as you know, a bad flu season. It's just hurting a lot of people, and there have even been deaths there. So that's probably one of the bigger concerns at this point. I say that because I'm not a government worker. There are some people who are not going to be getting checks. It's going to be tight for them if a shutdown occurs. So certainly for some people, it's going to be a big hit. And usually these things cost more money than they're worth. You'd think that shutting down the government, you'd save on some spending. There'd be a little bit less spending going on. It wouldn't be such a terrible thing, right? But it ends up costing more to shut down and then start back up again than it does to just keep going.
Fair enough. So anyway, a lot of talk about it, and we'll know hopefully after the weekend what's really going on here.
But the stock market, and I'll take a little bit of offense with what you said about nobody knew that the stock market would go ahead this strong at the start of the year. Yeah, we did. I think you did and I did, both. We're looking at a really strong earnings season. I'm a little surprised with exactly how strong it's been. You know, we went through the 25,000 mark in just under a month, and then we went from 25 to 26,000 on the Dow Industrial Average in a matter of 7 trading sessions. That's crazy. We weren't expecting that kind of a quick move, but with the earnings season being what we anticipated, a very strong earnings season, we were looking for some positive momentum carrying the stock market forward into the new year.
But we also have noticed that some of these companies' stocks have been selling off on the good earnings report. So we're seeing a little bit of a change of sentiment on the part of managers, which could be a warning that maybe a little bit of a correction is coming. So let's see how these stocks respond to upcoming earnings reports. But so far, a few have sold off. So just interesting observation there. Let's see where that goes.
It's a very good point. When you see a sell-off on good news, that should be a little cause for concern. And right now, come on, we've gone so far, so fast, you would anticipate a little bit of a breather to come in here at some point. Now, I'm not saying a correction of 10%, or certainly I'm not predicting a crash, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if we had a little bit of breather, you know, and maybe 1, 2, 3% pullback as the market regroups and then moves forward again.
I'm all with you on that one. So
that'd be a good thing.
That'd be great. So let's talk about one of our favorite banks, Wells Fargo. in the banks behaving badly segment that we try to squeeze in here every week. So a federal judge in Philadelphia rejected Wells Fargo bid to dismiss that city's lawsuit accusing the largest U.S. mortgage predator of predatory lending targeting black and Hispanic borrowers. Can you believe that Wells Fargo would do such a thing?
I'm shocked, I tell you, that there is gambling going on in this casino. No,
it just never stops. It just never stops, right?
Never stops. That's really the thing here. It just never stops. But this is kind of interesting because now we've seen some cities, some municipalities saying we're going to sue because of these practices because it results in lower property taxes, lower property values. It increases crime when you have foreclosures going on in a community because of predatory lending practices. It drags down the whole community. It hits the cities, the municipalities, in terms of trading revenue and also increased expenses to try and maintain order and fight crime in these areas that have been affected by foreclosures and people losing their homes and being tossed out onto the streets. So they're going after some of the bankers. Now there's a question whether they will succeed in this legal approach. In the past, we have seen that these legal approaches have not worked very well in the courts, but maybe it's a new case. Maybe it'll work.
Sinclair, stay with us. We're going to take a short break here, and we'll be back with Sinclair No from KFN 1510 Phoenix and author of the great blog EatTheBankers.com. Don't touch your dial.
You are listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. Call the Federal Tax Management Helpline that has been set up for you, 800-503-8625. Stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe more than $10,000 in taxes, call for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-503-8625. That's 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email Advertise at GCNlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise at GCNlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, glorious Saturday, beautiful Saturday, January 20th. Here in Phoenix in particular, we're having perfect weather where the rest of the country seems to be suffering in one form or another. And the Barrett-Jackson auto auction is underway here in town for another day, and I think it ends by Sunday. And, of course, we have the big golf tournament coming in the 1st of February. So come out to Phoenix if you have the opportunity. This is a place to be this year. Absolutely. Having the pleasure of listening to Sinclair No last segment and listening to his commentary. Sinclair is the author of the great blog EatTheBankers.com and commentator for a couple decades at KFNN 1510 Phoenix. Sinclair, we have to award you the Bitcoin Trader of the Year award. Let's talk about Bitcoin, because the last time you were on the show, you talked about, not last time, but in December, you were telling us how this might be a good opportunity to get short this puppy.
Well, I certainly do not get the Bitcoin Trader of the Year award. There are some folks who have really traded this for some incredible profits. There's no question about it. And that can happen when you have extreme volatility. Back around the beginning of December, I was telling you, though, that I thought that there would be a good short opportunity on Bitcoin for January, because, remember, we were just heading into the point where the CBOE was offering futures on cryptocurrency. And I said, I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who want to take the Bitcoin down. And sure enough, in January it happened. If you were looking at a forward contract, you were looking at a $15,000 price on it, and you had a chance to get out of a put at, say, 10, that's a nice trade. That's a real nice trade. Now, the good news is that the first forward month settlement that we had through the exchanges on futures went by without a blip. There was no problem. There was no craziness that was associated with it. That bodes well for cryptocurrency trading moving forward. But also keep in mind, we also saw South Korea and China starting to crack down on Bitcoin exchanges, which is something that I've warned about for a while. I don't think governments take very kindly to people just starting up their own currency. That's a government job, and they're not ready to relinquish that very quickly, I
Well, the question is, can they stop? Maybe they could stop new ICOs, but can they stop the trading of various cryptocurrencies? There's like 1,500 of them out there, Sinclair. Are they going to shut down the internet? How are they going to stop it?
Well, that's part of the question. How do you stop it? Do you really want to stop it completely, or do you want it moving forward in some way, shape, or form? I think that they are going to try to start regulating it at some point. I don't think they're going to try and shut it down completely. I think they'll shut down some of the exchanges, or at least try to, and they'll start to regulate it and make it more of a financial instrument that is traded and regulated and taxed, because, you know, governments love to do that. So it'll be here in the future. Don't get me wrong. It's not as if it's going to be wiped out. The technology is too interesting. But it'll change. It will grow and mature, and it will become regulated at some point.
Well, there's been rumors about that the Federal Reserve, we talked about this in a couple of broadcasts, might create their own cryptocurrency. And, you know, the flight to safety is one of the reasons I think money moved into Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, and the war against cash, which has been huge. Craig Smith over at Swiss America has been writing a book about this for quite some time. We saw what happened in India the last couple of years, where the government forced people to turn in their cash. So a lot of dubious investors out there with regarding to what do they do with their cash, you know, if the government's after it. So would the government create a crypto and say, hey, ours is safe, come buy ours? That could happen.
I think what we'll see is more trading of cryptocurrency on various exchanges, such as the CBOE, such as some ETFs. They're going to crack down on some of the individual stocks that are involved in this. And I think that eventually banks and even the Federal Reserve are going to adopt some form of blockchain technology. But it shouldn't surprise you that the big banks and the Federal Reserve and the government are behind the eight ball. I mean, they're behind the curve when it comes to adopting what is really very promising new technology. You know, they're playing catch up at this point. Eventually, though, they will catch up, I think.
Yeah, our good friend Jamie Dimon, remember the little event where he said how he hated Bitcoin, or he thought it was a fraud or something. Yeah. Fraud, yeah. And then we find out Chase Bank is buying it in Europe. But then I think he turned around. There was something that came out this past week or so. He says, well, I don't think Bitcoin is so bad now, or something to that effect. So,
which told me for sure that J.P. Morgan in some trading desk was shorting it.
Right. Now he likes it. They're getting short. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And when he didn't like it, then they knocked it down. He bought it. Well, that's the old conspiracy manipulation of the market, and we don't believe any of that occurs, do we, Sinclair?
No, I would be shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
We have a lot of fun with this segment. So the banks have reported some earnings, and not too unsurprisingly, J.P. Morgan came out with some positive earnings, and it was a mixed picture, but was it mixed? Most banks came out with positive earnings, but J.P. Morgan really did well, correct?
It depends upon what you're talking about. Now, there was a slowdown in trading activity, and J.P. Morgan felt that very critically, because J.P. Morgan now is a trading bank much more than the old traditional consumer bank that we used to think of. And basically all of the big banks took some charges. There were some big charges, one-time charges, multi-billion-dollar losses that they carried over onto their books. And with the change in the tax law now, those carry-forwards are worth less than they had been. Quite simply, it's almost as if you get a coupon for a discount on your taxes. Well, if they were paying 35% before, and the tax rate's lowered down to 21%, that's a 40% cut in the value of that discount coupon that you're holding for your taxes in the future, for your future tax bill. So they took that. They'll probably write that off as well. But for now, they take a one-time hit. But on an adjusted basis, most banks were beating earnings estimates or coming in right in line. Morgan Stanley beat, J.P. Morgan beat, Bank of America. Citi had a huge write-down. I think it was $22 billion one-time charge. So, yeah, they're taking the hit now. They'll probably write that off in the future as well. And then they're moving forward with a lower tax rate. They're loving that. It's going to be a real positive. So, really, it was kind of a mixed bag this quarter, but moving forward, it's good news for the banks. They're going to make more and more money than ever.
We're really happy about that. We want to see our good friends at the banks make a lot of money.
Yeah, because they're going to share it with all of us.
We only have a few seconds left, Sinclair. Let's talk about the Beige Book. It came out this past week after we were anxiously waiting for that one.
Nobody ever waits anxiously for the Beige Book.
I'm just kidding.
Let's be clear. And once again, it showed moderate to modest growth. But I think that one thing that is a little bit interesting is we're starting to see a few signs of inflation creeping in. We're starting to see a tighter and tighter job market. We are starting to see the Fed become a little bit more concerned about inflation moving forward. Now, we can say that, but we really haven't seen inflation yet. Time will tell.
Sinclair, thank you for joining us. Sinclair No from KFN 1510 Phoenix, north of the great blog, eatthebankers.com. And don't forget, folks, we will know in the fullness of time. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. Zero tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you.
You can do it if you try.